Good morning and welcome to Daf Yomi Megillah, Daf Yadalid, number 14. We have a great share for you today. Amazing. Among other things, we'll learn about the seven prophetesses, the seven Nevios. Can you guess? I'm trying now and guess before you learn this. Three Nevios. There are only seven women who are Nevios. I think yes, three. That's pretty good. We're also learning today about Abigail. David wanted to possibly commit adultery with Abigail. Find out what happened, the teaser, and what else is the teaser for today. Daf Yadalit. Let's see what else is the teaser for today. How many Nevi'im? How many men Nevi'im were there? That's three questions for today. Let's get right to it. All right. The bottom of Gimel and Beis. The last line. Vayomer HaMelech LaHaman. Melech says to Haman, HaKesef Nasan Lach. The money is given to you. He requested money. Haman requested money to kill the Jews. Achashverosh agreed. You can do whatever you want. You can kill the Jews. Amar Rabbi Abba, top of Yudal and Aleph. Mashal da Achashverosh Haman lamad davardome. What's a parable to detail what happened between Achashverosh and Haman? One person had a mound of dirt in his field. One person had a big hole in his field. The person with the hole, he would rather buy dirt, a pile of dirt to fill up his hole. The one who has extra dirt, I'd even pay money for a place to put my dirt. These two people met each other. A couple of days later, the person with the hole said to the one with the dirt, he said, sell me your dirt. He said, take it for free. I would rather get rid of it. I want to get rid of my tail. So this was the agreement between Achashverosh and Haman. Sounds like Achashverosh want to get rid of the Jews. Melech took off his ring, his signet ring, and he placed it on Haman. Amar Rabbi Abba Bar Kana Gdola Asaras Tabas Yoser Marboim Mishmon Neviim. Greater is removing your ring than the prophecies of 48 prophets, 7 Nevios and 7 prophetesses, Israel, that they prophesize for Israel. They all try to give Musar to Klal Israel and bring them back to do tshuva. Nothing helped. But they ended up changing their ways, the Jews, when they heard that Haman was in charge, they did tshuva. 48 Nevi'im and 7 prophetesses were Nevi'os for Israel. So therefore, you have the answer to question number 1. If you knew what the answer was, give yourself a pat on the back, buy yourself a chocolate, maybe a beer, and say, I figured out challenge. I think it was challenge number 3. How many Nevi'im are there in Klal Yisrael? From the men, there were 48. I told you there were 7. We have to know who the 7 are. That'll be challenge. That was challenge number 1. They didn't add anything or detract anything from the Torah. The only thing they added on to the Torah was Mikra Megillah, to read the Megillah on Purim. My Dorish. Where did they find support to add the Megillah? If we go out from slavery to freedom, we say Shira. We say Hallel on Pesach. And certainly, if you go from death, someone wanted to kill them to life, and certainly you say something to commemorate. You say the Megillah, so therefore on Purim we shall say Hallel also. You don't say Hallel on a miracle outside of Eretz Yisrael. The answer is, Emra asks, you see us Mitzrayim, we say Hallel on Pesach, that happened in Mitzrayim, out of Eretz Yisrael. So the Gemara to give the sign, like Bryce says, before they went into Eretz Yisrael, then you could say Hallel, anything that happened, which happened even was outside Eretz Yisrael. Once they entered Eretz Yisrael, a nace outside of Israel, what didn't warrant saying Hallel? Rav Nachman Amar, Rav Nachman's the second answer. The reading of the Megillah is in place of Hallel. It's basically the same idea as Hallel. Rav Amar Bishlam Hasam Hallel Avdei Hashem Lo Avdei Paro. When it comes to Yetzias Mitzrayim, we praise Hashem. They used to be praise servants of Paro, and now we're servants of Hashem. I'm going to say praise Hashem. The word servants of Hashem. We're not. We're still the servants of Achashverosh. According to Rav and Rav Nachman, they don't say this answer that you don't say anes of Chutz La'aretz. What are the price? The price is you don't say Hallel anes of Chutz La'aretz. Kasha Atanya Mishnechnasu La'aretz Hochshukaz Lamashira. The Bryson says you can't say Shira if that's Eretz Yisrael. When it says and they hold, once they went to Gullus from Eretz Yisrael, then there's a hechsher, there's an approval of saying Hallel. You're allowed to say Hallel even if it's outside Eretz Yisrael. There's no other Nevi'im besides 48. This is about Elkanah. He was from Ramasim Sofim. Echad Masayim Sofim Sheshnab Lam Yisrael. The Gemara's Joshua Min HaRamasayim sounds like Masayim. So he was one of the 200 Nevi'im at that time. So there were a lot of them. The Gemara says Mihava Tuva Hava. There really were tons of Nevi'im. Because there's Harbin Nevi'im Abdullah Yisrael keep flying to Mitzrayim. Double the amount of people left Mitzrayim. I don't know if that's possible. I guess over the generations there were more people. So 600,000 people left Mitzrayim. So I guess 1.2 million Nevi'im there were. When we say there's only 48 Nevi'im, they said in Nevuah that was necessary for future generations, it was applicable to future generations, therefore was written down. Other Nevi'im said things maybe that were relevant to that time period, but it wasn't needed for future generations. That wasn't written down. That's what we're referring to. 48 Nevi'im said things that were pertinent for future generations. He's a different shot in this passage by Elkanah. He came from a place where two high points, two mountains, saw each other. There was a valley in between them. He came from the valley in between those two high points. He came from people that stood at the highest point of the earth. These are the sons of Korach. They didn't die. His children did tshuva in the middle of the Maisa of Korah. So therefore, his descendants were none other than Elkanah. Tana Mishum Rabbeinu, Malkum Nisbatzalam Begahenim Amdu Alav. Right? When they were falling into the emptiness of the earth, they had a cliff that came out and prevented them from falling all the way into Gehenna. And that's where they remain living until this day. You can go excavate somewhere in the Midbar and find Bnei Korach, if you're lucky. Some archaeologists look for coins, they look for oil lamps. You could actually look for the Bnei Korach. Still there somewhere. All right. Where it says, Sheva Nevios Manhino. Back to challenge number 1. Who were the 7 Nevios? Do you know them? Could you get 3 out of 7? Here we go. Sarah was an Neviah. Miriam, she was an Neviah. Devorah was an Neviah. Chana, Abigail, Chulav, Esther. Those are the 7. If I had to learn this Gemara, I would have said Esther, Sarah, and maybe Miriam. That's what I would have said. So I probably got 3 out of 7. Sarah, the Avi Milka, Avi Yiska. He was the father. He's talking about Haran, or who was it? Avram had 3 brothers. Avram, Haran. I gotta do my chumash. I don't know. Avram had 3 brothers. One of his brothers was the father of Milka and the father of Yiska. Amar of Yiska is Sarah. Yiska is Sarah. Why was she called Yiska? Another name for Sarah was Yiska. She saw the Ruach HaKodesh. Proof that she was a Neviah. Hashem said to Avram, everything that Sarah says, you listen to it. Yiska. Another pshat why she was called Yiska. She was possibly, we'll see on the next daf, she was possibly the most beautiful woman who ever lived. Everyone stated her beauty. Miriam Achos Aaron. Miriam the Neviah, she was the sister of Aaron. Moshe, she wasn't also the sister of Moshe. Amar Nachman, Amarav, why does it say the sister of Aaron? She had her nevuah, she had her prominence when she was just the sister of Aaron. Omeres, Asida Imi, she tell it ben she said to her father, my mother is going to have a child who's going to say Shanola, and therefore she convinced her father to go back and marry Yocheved. Usha Shenolad, when Moshe was born, Nismal Kol Bayis Kula Ora, the whole house filled with light. Amar Aviyah Menashkal Rosha, her father went ahead and kissed her on her forehead. Amar La Biti Niskaima Nevuasayich, your nevuah was Niskayim. Kevan Sheshlichu Lior, once the edict came from the Mitzrim, they had to throw all the children into the Or, and they threw them into the Nile. Amar Aviyah V'tav Rosha, our father hit her on the head. He actually hit her. What happened to her nevuah? It says the following psukim that his sister went next to the Nile to know. What does it mean to know? Ladas ma'yeh b'sof nevuah to see what would her nevuah become true? Devora dichsiv. I think Devora was a neviah. Devora isha neviah. It says she was a neviah. Isha lapidos. The wife of Lapidos, Maish Lapidos. What does that mean? Shaisa Osa Psilos Lamekdash. Doesn't mean she was married to the guy named Lapidos. It means she made wicks for the base of Mikdash, for the menorah. V'hiosheves Tachas Tomer. She sat underneath a palm tree. Ma'ishna Tachas Tomer. Why did she sit under a palm tree? Amar B'Shem Ben Avshalom B'Shem Yichud. She would meet with men to adjudicate their cases. So therefore, a palm tree doesn't have so many leaves. So therefore, there were no shilas of Yichud. Just like a palm has a heart, as a palm has hearts of palm. It's cool. The hearts of palm come from a palm tree. It has one heart. It has hearts of palm. Just like that, the door of Dvorah, they only had one lave. Everyone was subservient to Hashem. Chana, how do you know she was a Nevi'ah? The Chsiv, Chana. Vatomer Olas Libi B'Hashem, Rama Karni B'Hashem, said, my heart rejoices with Hashem, Rama Karni B'Hashem, my horn is exalted with Hashem, Rama Karni V'lo Rama Pachi. What's the nevuah? Said Rama Karni, that when there's a Mashiach, when someone becomes anointed with a Karen, and it has lasting, and not with the low Rama Pachi, not when you're anointed with a flask of oil. David Shlomo, they were anointed with a horn filled with oil, olive oil. And their kingdom was lasted for a long time. Shaul and Yehu were anointed with a flask of oil, and that was the nevuah that Chana said that their kingship wouldn't last. We continue with Chana's tefillah. En kadosh Hashem kein beltecha amar Rav Yehuda bar Menashe al tikra beltecha ela valoscha. Shalok midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu midas basar v'dam. Hashem's not like people. Midas basar v'dam ma'isi adam v'alan also. People, when they make creations, they make famous paintings, they make famous sculptures, they make famous real estate collections, real estate projects. Those outlast them, they die. The projects are still remaining. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mevala ma'isi yada. HaKadosh Baruch Hu lives whatever He created. Ein sor ke'elokenu. The world will be destroyed. Hashem will still exist. Ein sor ke'elokenu. Ein sayer ke'elokenu. Sor doesn't mean a rock. It means a drawer like Hashem. Adam sar sur al gabe kosel. A person draws an image of a person on a wall. You can't put life force or a neshama or stomach or intestines into it. Hashem makes a drawing. He makes a baby created in his mother's womb. He's able to put all these things, life force, intestines, and a stomach. Abigail, how do you know Abigail was Nevi'ah? We read this. She was riding on a donkey and she left the Seisar Har, the covert part of the mountain. Seisar Har minah. She said she left the mountain. She got off the mountain. What do you mean Seisar Har? She was talking about, the case was, the details were, is that she really was asking David, this is a story with David, she met David, she was asking him about Nida blood. Not the Dam Varasalo. She took Nida blood and she showed it to him. She wanted to know whether she was muteris to her husband Novel. So she said, so David asked her, you can't see, you can't judge blood at night, you can't see it properly. Amarlo, he was about to kill Novel, her husband, who disrespected him for being the king. The Mord Malchus said, how could you kill him at night? He wanted to kill him at night. Amarlo, Morid, Yudal and is Mord Malchusu. He rebels against the kingdom. Velo Sarach Lamidine, I don't have to don him. Mord Malchus, one of the kulas over there, you don't have to judge him. Amarlo, Adayan Shal Kayam, Liatzativach Olam. Even though you're really the king, he is Mord Malchus, but people still think Shaul's the king, and they're going to think you're a murderer. Amarlo, Baruch Tamech Brucha Ada Shar Kilisani Ayom Azeh Mibo Badamim. So he blessed her, he said she was right, and he saved him from being nichshal, from stumbling on two types of blood. Damim tarte mashma. Why two types of blood? El malamish gilsa. The first blood is killing Novel. What's the second dam? Malamish gilsa is shoka. When she was talking to David, she uncovered her thigh. Vahalach laora gimel parsos. She was very attractive in that area, and he ran after her. Amar la shishmili. He wanted to have adultery with her. This is the answer to challenge number 2. It says it. Amrlo lo zos lecha lefuka. So she said, not right now. Don't let this be a stumbling block for you. Zos lecha lefuka. Zos. Why is it the word zos? Lechal dika achrisi. This shouldn't be a stumbling block for you, but there will be something else that will be a stumbling block for you. That was her nevuah. What was that stumbling block? Ma'aseh the Bathsheba. When he sinned with Bathsheba, that actually was a sin that David did. Maskana haki havai. And that was what happened. So she was in a view. She continued to talk to David. She said, my life force should be subsumed within your life force. When she was leaving from should Hashem should do favorable to you, and you should remember your maidservant. A woman, when she talks, she weaves. Meaning, women are very good at talking and getting what they want. She was alluding to David. She was saying, she didn't say it outright. Women don't go after men outright. They say it in a flirting type of way. She said, remember your maidservant, meaning after Naval dies, after you kill him, come after me, I want to marry you. A goose walks with his eyes down, but he walks with his head down, but his eyes are constantly looking up. So a woman also, she looks like a humble person, but she really has eyes for things in the future. Women, I think, are very conniving. Not conniving. I mean, they try to get what they want, the way they get what they want. They can't use their physical force. They get it through their mouth. Women are much more talented with their mouths than men are. If you really want to attract a woman, the best way to attract a woman is if you go to flirting with women, to use your mouth to attract a woman, because that's what they love. They love the connection with words, flirting with them. All right. Ika the Amri Shah, the Gemara says, Hulda the Chsiv. Hulda was an Aviyah. The Chsiv, I don't know if anyone heard of the word of Hulda, but she was an Aviyah. She lived at the time of Yirmiyahu. They all went to her, and it says in that pasuk that the Hulda was an Aviyah. Yirmiyah was a prophet at that time, so how could she be a prophetess also and take over the prominence of Yirmiyahu? Amri Beirab Mishmei the Rav Hulda Krovas Yirmiyahu. She was related to him. Love Machbet. He didn't mind that she was also an Aviyah. Still, how did Yoshiyahu go to her and not go to Yirmiyahu? He was greater than her. And he went to her because she'll have mercy in her prophecy. Yirmiyahu is a different answer. Yirmiyahu wasn't around at that time. He went to go return the 10 tribes that were exiled. King of Ashur, how do you know that he was successful in returning them? The prophecy in Yechezkel was later on that if someone sells a house, it won't go back to Yovel. I mean, Yovel doesn't apply. After Yovel Batal, after Yovel was already Batal when the rov of the Jews didn't live in Israel, and the Seres Shvatim were in Galus. Why was Yechezkel prophesying that Yovel was going to be batal? It was already batal. And must be Yirmiyahu brought them back, and Yovel did come back, and therefore Yechezkel afterwards said that Yovel was going to be batal. Yoshia ben Amon malach alei. Yoshia actually was the king over these Aseret Shvatim. Nechsiva Yomer Ma'atzion Allah T'Shani Roev Yomer Love Anshe Yir Akever Ish Alhim Asher Bam Yehuda Vayikra says Rimayela Asher Asisa on Mizbeach of Beis El. This is talking about Yehuda. Yoshia was the king of Yehuda, and it says he ruled over the Mizbeach and Beis Kel. Became Mativo Shel Yoshia Mizbeach of Beis Kel. Beis El was in a place of Bethel was the place of Woodstock. It really was. Woodstock was a town close to Bethel, but really Bethel, someone's farm in Bethel. Beis El was a place in Eretz Yisrael. Then it is in the portion of Malchus, not Yehuda, Malchus Yisrael. What was he doing there? Yoshia was king on the 10 Shvatim also. Rav Nachman Amar Mahacha, Gam Yehuda Shas Katzer Lecha B'Shuvi Shvus Ami. Yehuda, he was the king of Yehuda. He, at the time of harvest, he was king over the people that were returned from the exile. Esther, I know Esther was considered a Neviah. Esther Malchus, when she went to go Achashverosh to plead for the Jews, she wore kingship, kingdom, royal. She wore royalty. Big day Malchus. Mibayal, it says she wore clothes of royalty. What does lavish Malchus mean? Ella shalavsa ruach hakodesh doesn't mean she wore. Of course, she wore nice clothes, but also means she was endowed with the ruach hakodesh. Siv hachav atilbash v'chsiv hasav ruach lavshas hamasai. A ruach of nevuah filled on Masai, so therefore we know that she also had nevuah. Amar Rav Nachman lo yea yihirusa lenashi. Arrogance is not good for women. Tarte nashi yihirin having. There were two women that were a little more arrogant than they should have been. Avistani and Shmayu, and therefore they were punished because they had names that were disgusting. One was called a bee, Dvora. One was called a weasel. That was Hulda. Dvora, what did it say by her? She called Barak to come to her. She should have gone to him. Karkusha, she was arrogant. Karkusha ksibba by Hulda, it says Amru leish Amru lamelch. She said, go to say to the man, and she didn't call him a king. That was degrading to him. Amar Rav Nachman Hulda Mibnei Banav Shal Yeshua. He says she was of the descendants of Yeshua. Ksiv Hacham Ben Charkas Ksiv Hasam Timnas Cheres. She was the child of Charkas, which sounds like Yeshua. It says Timnas Cheres, similar word by Yeshua. Isvei Ravina Saba Rav Nachman Shmon Neviim Him Kohanim. There were 8 Neviim, and they were also Kohanim. Yatzum Rachav Azona. They came. They were progeny of Rachav Azona of Elohim, Neria, Baruch, Syria, Machsia, Yirmiyah, Chilka, Chanamel, Vishalom. Rav Yehuda Omer, Af Hulda Neviah. Yehuda says even the Hulda Neviah came from Rachav. How do you know that? Bein Tikva, because it says she was of the sense of Tikva. It says by Rachav Azona, as Tikva Rachut, she lowered the red string from her, the red bendel from her. The red bendel, they call it. You used to have the red bendel when you went to the kever of Rachel. You got the red bendel. But where does it come from, the red bendel? It comes from Rachel Azona. She hung it out of her window. Was Rachel a Gilgal of Rachel? Maybe. I think it was Hachud Shani, the red string. Amarle Eina Saba, Amarla Pasya, Amarle Eina Saba. He said to Eina Saba, Amarle Pasya Ukma. The black vessel, from what I said and from you said, we'll figure it out. The Igaria, she was really a descendant of both of them. The Igaira, Rachav Azona, she became a Giores, she converted the Jews to Menasbe Yeshua, she married Yeshua, so therefore Chulda was a descendant of both Yeshua and Rachel. Mihavale Zarli Yeshua, did Yeshua have any children? Achsiv, Nun Beno, Yeshua Beno. It said Nun was a son of somebody else. Yeshua Beno, Yeshua was son of Nun. It doesn't continue and say who were the children of Yeshua. It sounds like there's no children of Yeshua. When it says Bani Lohavu Le Bantan Havel, he didn't have any sons, but he had daughters, and therefore through his daughters he had children, he had descendants, including Hulda and Neviah. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. L'chaim. See you tomorrow.